obviously, you want to make it as far as you possibly can in the game, but being on the jury is probably the next best thing because you still are part of the game. You still have a say in who wins the $1 million, which is a huge deal, and you still have some influence. So I'm really excited to be on the jury, and I feel, a lot of power being able to contribute to this huge decision. And personally, it's been an awesome experience being on the jury. It's really interesting walking into Tribal and being on the opposite side and just getting to see, the game and see where everyone's at. And I've really, really liked being on the jury so far. Of course, it's kind of bittersweet because you get there and you sit on the bench and you're looking at everyone and you're like, this is funny because I can make fun of them and I can talk about them and really take things in. But at the same time, all you want to do is be on the other side. But I personally am so happy I'm on the jury. Final Tribal Council is typically a time when people either really, kind of pay their respects to players in one way or kind of lash out on players in another way. And I'm excited to kind of see how Final Tribal goes. I think that there'll definitely be a mix of opinions. I don't think that there's a clear winner at this point, which a lot of times when you have looked at this game historically, there's one person that you're like, that person has it. I think this is pretty even across the board, and I think that there are a lot of different opinions. So I'm excited to kind of process everyone's questions and everyone's statements tonight because I think it's going to be very, very mixed, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. I was in an alliance with Michelle starting day 2, and we made it pretty far together, and Michelle said to me during the merge that regardless of how things turn out for her, she wants to play a loyal and respectable game. And for me, that was interesting because as much as I want to be loyal and as much as I want to have a respected game, sometimes that means kind of backstabbing people and being a little vicious and being a little sneaky. And to her, that was the complete opposite. She was like, I want to be as honest as possible. I want to stick with my alliance and be, all the way through just as loyal as I possibly can. And she was, besides me. So I was the one person that she really, really turned on in this game. And so it was definitely, I'm proud of her, honestly, for making that move because I didn't think that she would. And so that was definitely shocking to me, but it was also, kind of clarification that she had it in her to kind of make that big move, and it made me honestly respect her game more. So it was definitely, I think that was her big turning point in the game. And so I'm proud of Michelle, and I'm excited to see how she answers questions tonight because after I was gone, she ended up doing really well in challenges and I think really well on her own. So I think that Michelle has a good shot tonight, and I think that a lot of people wouldn't have expected Michelle to make it to the final 3. I think that the beginning of her game was kind of weak, and she, was definitely being dragged along a little bit. So I think that she definitely made a huge turnaround, and I'm proud of her so far. Ty, it's funny because I started the game with Ty, and I thought that he was awesome. I thought that he was the most genuine, kind-hearted person, and he was so sweet, and he persuaded everyone into thinking he was this amazing provider and this really awesome guy. And as the game kind of unfolded, I lost a lot of respect for Ty. I think that his decisions were very sporadic and really had no strategy. It was just who am I going to get off to advance myself? And which, I mean, is the game, but you kind of have to think it thoroughly through. And I think that he made a lot of poor decisions as the game went on, specifically using his advantage to vote Michelle twice. That was just embarrassing, and I kind of felt bad for Ty at that moment. And I think that Ty, if he kind of strategically voted out people in a cleaner, more logical way, that he would have had a really, really good shot of winning this game. I mean, he obviously still does. He's in the final 3, but I think that it kind of turned a lot of people off. Aubrey and I had a really interesting relationship, I think, throughout this game. I first met her when I came back from Braun Beach and was on the Gundella tribe with her, and she had voted off Anna right before I got there, which Anna was my #1 alliance. We were aligned since day 1, and so I was really nervous about my position with Aubrey. And I came in, and at my first tribal council, she wrote my name down, drew a line through it, and wrote Peter underneath. And we got back to camp that night, and she comes and starts sucking up to me, and she's like, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to write your name down. And I was like, well, you did, so I don't really know what to say. And I forgave Aubrey. You know, I said, it's fine, I'm still here, and we can try and, you know, work together maybe. And I gave Aubrey another opportunity. And she was definitely very, you know, shady towards me. And I think out of everyone on this entire tribe, I had the hardest time connecting with Aubrey. I don't know what it was. It's funny because we both live in the Boston area. You know, she's not that much older than me, but for some reason we just did not click at all. I don't think that her strategy was strategy. I think that everything that, you know, she did was fear-based. I think that she was very paranoid. I think that she was very nervous, and, you know, the people that she considered threats, she just got rid of. And I don't think she thoroughly thought things through. I think she just had this fear constantly, and that's what kind of drove her game. And you could tell she's like nervous. She can't answer questions right. You know, it was hard for me to connect with Aubrey, and I think that she held Joe's hand as far as she possibly could. You know, she used Joe so that she could have 2 votes the entire game, and that just like drove me crazy. It's like, yeah, that could be considered a good strategy, but at the same time, I think that, you know, it's also a weakness. I think that she kind of needed someone with her at all times and couldn't play the game by herself. So I definitely will not be voting for Aubrey. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I don't respect her game. I don't think that she, you know, really thought it through. Looking at Survivor and looking at this game, my decision tonight at Final Tribal Council will be purely based off of game. I'm gonna give my vote to who I think played the best game, and if that means betraying people, then that means betraying people. If that means, you know, winning a bunch of challenges, that means winning a bunch of challenges. I think it needs to be a combination of big moves, you know, loyalty and betrayal, and, you know, ability to participate in these challenges and do really well. And I want to look at the game as a full perspective. I want to make sure that, you know, I cover all grounds, and I'm not going to base it off of like who was my best friend in the game, or who was, you know, who I think deserves it the most in like real life. I'm going to base it purely off the game, because that's why we're here. We're here to play a game, and the $1 million is supposed to go to the person who played the best game. And so that's how I'm going to kind of justify my vote tonight.